the testing, you want your alkalinity between 80 and 120, your pH between 7.2 and 7.6, your hardness at 50 or below, and then the chlorine you'll want to, once everything's up and running, you're going to want about at a 0.5 part per million. The next step is we're going to let the hot tub heat to about 95 degrees. Once it gets up to 95 degrees, it'll actually show it on your control panel. So this one here is actually at 100 degrees. This is when we're going to add salt. At this point, when adding salt, you're going to open up the filter compartment. You're going to put the salt in the filter compartment, so directly in this area right here. The dosages for your exact hot tub are on the back of the tub. Now I would tell you that, so like for example, this one here's a Grandie, that's 500 gallons. It's telling us to put 11.5 cups in there. That's probably a little too much. We're actually going to do about 75% of that on our first dosage. A little trick on the bag, there's a really cool little tab here. If you open this, then that creates a Ziploc bag that you can reuse. So that's pretty awesome that that does that. There is a cup that's actually already in the salt container. So just use that cup, that's an actual 1 cup. You'll take that and you'll actually put that in the hot tub. You're going to turn your jets on. You want to make sure they're on high. So turn on both pumps, take your salt, and just pour it in there. Now, once you do that, you want to wait a minimum of 24 hours. So let's say, for example, you're going to put in 7 cups of salt. We're going to put in 5 or 6 cups of salt. We're going to wait 24 hours, and then we're going to test the salt. We don't want to put it all in, test the salt immediately, and then see what's going on. We definitely want to wait a few minutes, or wait a day or two before we test the salt. So we've waited 24 hours, and we're about ready to test the salt. Again, you want to use these test strips. These are the most important thing to your saltwater system, is you do need these test strips. They're super, super important. To test that, you just pull out your test strip, and then you put it in there and you swirl it around about 3 times, give it a good shake, and then you're going to wait about 20 seconds. And then you're going to kind of see on here how as you wait, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And your goal is you want to be at about this 1750, right in the middle of that okay range. That's the best part for that to be. This particular hot tub, I mean, we're about 20 seconds right now. I'm actually coming in a little low yet. I'd say between 1250 and 1500. I'm just right there. I actually want to be a little bit higher, so I'm actually going to add another cup. And so we're going to just kind of do that every day until I get to that 1750. So it's really important that the 1750 lands on these test strips. Now we're gonna go into the actual salt system itself, but it's important that we match this up and we know that this is all correct. And you can bring a sample into us too. We can definitely test that for you. But if you have these test strips, again, your goal is to be at about 1750, and it's really important you follow the directions on these test strips and do it correctly. Once we get the salt in and we've waited the 24 hours, we're actually going to go into the salt system on the hot tub. Now this is the High Life series, so you're going to hit the teardrop. If you're on the Limelight series, you're going to go into options. On the High Life series is going to bring up the dial. On the Limelight series, there's actually a scale. So the scale actually run across. The High Life actually has the dial. We actually want that to be right about here, right around that 11 o'clock hour. Right now we're a little low, and this is the hot tub I just tested, and my salt tester said that that was low as well. So I will want to add another cup of salt. We can check this again tomorrow, and it'll probably be about exactly where we need to be. The cool thing about this is once you've done all that, your system should say salt system okay, everything running perfectly. So the next thing that you want to do is you're going to adjust your output. So this is how much sanitizer the hot tub is actually creating. I suggest starting at a 5, that you just hit the button and it takes it up or it takes it down. It actually just goes all the way through it. So 5 is a really great, my touch screen's a little, my fingers are wet. 5 is a really great place to start. If you're not holding enough chlorine at that point, you know, wait 24 hours or so. give it a chance to catch up. If you're not holding enough chlorine, we'll definitely want you to boost that up a little bit, take it up to a 6 or a 7. Another really, really important tip, as you're getting started, we do want you to add 2 teaspoons of chlorine to your hot tub every single day for the first 3 days. And the reason for that is they tested your hot tub that you have. It actually got tested at the factory. We want to guarantee it didn't leak or anything like that. It sat in a wrapper for a little bit. So there's some things some contaminants and stuff that are in the hot tub, and we just want to make sure that everything is taken care of and your hot tub's clean and ready to go. So it's really important that you put that chlorine in there to get everything started, and that also gives the saltwater system fresh water to get moving along with, and you'll actually have a really good startup if you do it that way. So the first 3 days after getting your hot tub, you want to put 2 teaspoons of chlorine in every single day for the first 3 days. After that, then you're going to actually get going on this control panel. So we've got our salt balanced, we've got our output set. Like I said, we're going to start at about a 5. This button here with the little rocket ship, that's the boost. So if you ever have a super large group of people, or the water's just looking a little murky or something like that, if you turn that on, what will actually happen is that actually turns your output up to 100%. So for the next 24 hours, you're going to be producing at a super high rate, which is awesome and a good way to go. You shouldn't have to do that very often, maybe once a week, once a month at the most, but that's all the more often that you need to do that. And then this here is the super cool, most amazing thing ever, disposable cell. So you do need to change that about every 4 months. And when you change that, there'll actually be a screen that comes up and shows you that it needs to be changed. It'll actually tell you that it needs to be changed. But to change it, it's super important that you hit this button, and then it's going to say press OK to replace the cell now. So you're going to hit OK, and what happens there is that shuts down all the circulation pumps, all the pumps, and everything that needs to happen. Okay, so we just hit the button to replace this cell, and then all you do is you pull this off. This just has a couple of notches. You just want to line that up, and it just pops right off. And you're going to hit the button and pull this out. You take this one, you're going to press your button down in, you're going to put that in there. Make sure that's seated real well in there, and then you just put that back on there. Again, that needs to be done about every 3 to 4 months, and it's super easy to do. And just make sure you hit that button to shut the pumps off before you change your cell. So, and then when changing your cells, the replacement cells come in 3 packs. So this is a year's supply. Really cool little trick on the back of this. There's some dates that you can put on here. So actually just mark when you changed it, and then you know in about 4 months that you'll change the next one. Neat little trick that you got to keep the box on your shelf anyway. That it's a good way to keep track of it. I actually set a reminder in my phone. I just tell Siri to remind me to change my cell in 4 months. But that's really important to do that. When doing that, the other thing that you need to do is also replace your silver ion cartridge. This will actually, again, needs to be replaced every 3 to 4 months. Works fantastic. It really does make the saltwater system work a lot better. But when you change that, pretty simple on the hot spring spas. Again, it'll go in the gray standpipe. It's always the gray standpipe because that's where your circulation pump is. So this one in here, so it comes like that when you get it. You'll just want to put that handle on there so that you can pull it out, and then that just goes right down the pipe, and then you just screw that back in there. So again, just kind of get in the habit of once you change the salt cell, you also change your silver ion cartridge when you do that. And then you're going to get back over to your control, and you're going to have this really cool screen that says we rechange the cell. We hit that button, and once we hit that button, then it'll say salt system restarting. Once everything is tested, so I've got the new cell in there, it's checking my salt and make sure everything's going. It's going to come up and it says salt system testing. We're doing really well. The other thing that's going to happen is every 11 days you're going to get a screen, and that screen's going to show up here on the video right now. And that screen is going to say, have you tested the water? So you have three options. You're going to say, test, everything's okay, or later. So about every 11 days, we would like you to stick a test strip in the hot tub and make sure everything's okay. If you just hit the button, it's fine, but when it needs to be tested, you're either going to have a green light flashing on your hot tub, or that little teardrop's going to kind of breathe. It just kind of does a little breathing type thing. So you can do this while you're in the hot tub. You don't need to be out of the hot tub or anything like that. Hit that button, go ahead and hit OK. If you don't hit that button, what happens in 11 days is the chlorine system or the salt system actually cuts back by 20%. And then if you wait another 11 days and you still haven't hit it, it's now cut back by 40%, and so on down the road. So every 11 days it cuts back by about 20%. And the reason for that is it thinks you're not using the hot tub, and then it's overproducing chlorine, and then it will actually it'll shut itself down so it doesn't make too much chlorine for the hot tub. So it's really important that you hit that button when that happens. And then really that's your whole system. You do need to change the water about once a year. And again, when you drain it and refill it, when you drain it, turn the breakers off, hook your hose up to the drain. You can just drain it right out into the backyard. It's going to be totally fine. But when you fill it back up, it's really important that you fill it up with your water softener. And make sure that before you fill it that you have recharged that water softener. We'll put a link to that video down below on this video. And then the couple other tips and tricks, don't overthink it. If your water looks good, it's working. I mean, if everything's good on that, it's working really well. Don't put too much salt in. Too much salt will shut your system down. For the most part, the machine will tell you what to do at all times. Your water is going to feel fantastic, and you really just have to hit that button about every 11 days is really the main thing, and keep your water level up. Our two biggest service calls ever are not enough water in the hot tub, and the filters are dirty. So we do request that you make sure that your water level has been topped off, and that your filters get pulled out and cleaned at least once a month. So those are two really important things that you do. Another trick that I would send out to you is use the ease test strips. They show a much lower chlorine reading, which is awesome. So it's either on the ease test strips, you have just either it's good or it's bad. So if it's that green or darker, you're good to go. On this particular hot tub, I just boosted it not too long ago, so it's gonna be kind of high. But on this particular hot tub, that green is way darker than that, but I'm good to go. But if you're there, if you're right here or lower, this is only a 0.5 part per million of chlorine, so it actually works really, really well because that's the level you actually need to be at. If you do that, you're gonna love your hot tub. Just keep the water level up, keep the filters clean, make sure you change the cartridges when you're supposed to, and keep your salt level where it's supposed to be. Bring us a sample about once a month or so, and we'll definitely make sure you're on the right track. Hot Spring Spas, every day made better.